That's not
Budget amendments.
That's not it. Who won? That's all the AR.
Well, we just looked at.
Somebody lost their water during the break. Come back down. We will resume right where we left off. Budget committee. Pick up. I think we're on what, item 3?
Yes, ma'am. I put it in the form of a motion to approve county fund number 101, budget amendment number 102-2, items 1 through 15, in the amount of $236,113.90, with $61,032 coming from the unsigned fund balance. A motion by Mr. Willie Campbell. Oh, sorry, Madam Chair.
Motion, Frazier, second. All right, any discussion? Okay, let's vote on item 3.
Oh, sorry.
Steve has stepped out. Can you abstain on his? All right, reveal the vote. Not Steve, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I saw your empty seat and, sorry. All right, motion passes.
All right, motion to approve solid waste fund number 116, budget amendment 116-1, item number 1, the amount of $25,000 with nothing coming from unassigned fund balance.
Second by Brown. Any discussion on this one?
This actually, for a point of clarification with Mr. Camp, this was brought to my attention by the finance director. They repaired the dozer, and this was to pay for the rental dozer that we had used at the landfill. And the dozer has since quit again. But they have been working on it all day. There's a strong chance that some other things that were brought to Carolyn's attention won't be necessary. So Mr. Kemp won't be bringing that forward at this time.
Yes, he could. There's 2 items. One, they're going to be repaired. The other one, I've already got the purchase order for, and it was my understanding they're still going to need it. So there is one.
Well, I just got off the phone with Benny. He said that this was included in the 25,000.
According to the information that they gave. I think we need to put the additional 5,000 out there for all 6, because there were 2 of them, one for 5 and one for 6.
Well, Benny is indisposed. He is sick this evening. That's why he's not here for point clarification.
The extra $5,000 was from a different vendor, so they can't do the same thing.
Gotcha.
So we have a motion and a second on the $25,000 for dozer rental. That's the discussion that we're in. Does anybody on the floor have a question? Okay. Let's vote on that amount of money, $25,000. Motion passes. Commissioner Frazier, it's going to be my recommendation that we move through what written on our sheet for the committee, and maybe you all can get answers before the night ends, and we'll know if we need to come back to this. Is that okay with you, sir?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Number 5, motion to approve American Rescue Plan Fund number 127, budget amendment 127-1, items 1 through 4, in the amount of $1,517,019, with $1,517,019 coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Second by Jerry Prophet. Any discussion? Yes, Dr. Redcap.
Madam Chair, Chair of Budget, we talked in the recess, but those four items, that includes that 1.5 million. Doesn't include Peters Hollow. And that was the discussion we had in budget, and we passed it out of budget for those funds to come out of unassigned fund balance. And when the TDAC ARP money comes in, will be reimbursed to that fund.
I don't see it in the minutes either. That's what I was going over to see if I could get the point of clarification.
I think the minutes are incorrect, because I remember the discussion, so does Carolyn, so does Brad, because my original motion was to take that sum of money from our ARP fund. Here it is.
Found it finally.
Okay. Yep. Just a thing.
Got that on.
Okay, so we're voting on the number before us.
Yes, that number is correct for this particular motion.
Any questions or clarifications? Yes, Dr. Cable.
I just have a question. Since we started to disperse a lot of this ARP money, do we have a financial plan in place to track these dollars and the justification for using these dollars?
Federal grant funds, basically, so everything has to be crossed and dotted when it comes to these. There's strict guidelines on what we can use them for. Well, they become looser over time as far as the wording and what qualifies and what doesn't, because the original wording that came out, and virtually nothing would have qualified. And they've corrected it over the past, year and a half for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, Commissioner Johnson.
Madam Chair, if I may direct to Diane, we have paid First Tennessee Development District, which is the administrator, to oversee our commitment to each of the categories to make sure and to ensure that we were in compliance with the 800-page ARP requirement. Each one of these that we take through committee has been forwarded to them for review. And so far, our finance director has made verification in each one of these. So they have been approved by them. They're the ones that have to stand up and take it and short it before wrong. We paid them the tune of just shy of $1 million out of it to administer. So they have the responsibility for the daily oversight, verification with each one of these units, such as for the fire departments. They're going to have to, each individual, qualify every piece of equipment they buy and what they use each dollar for. That way, if we are audited by the federal government, that they will have the documentation to prove it.
Anything else to mention? All right, then we're voting on number 5, $1.5 million of ARP funds. reveal the vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, guys. Moving on, put in the form of a motion to approve Highway Fund number 131, Budget Amendment 131-1, items 1 and 2, in the amount of $10,570 with nothing coming from unassigned fund balance. Second by Mr. Campbell. Sorry.
Questions on this one? Okay, let's vote. Reveal. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, next up, I put in the form of a motion to approve General Purpose School Fund number 141, Budget Amendment 141-2, items 1 through 12, in the amount of $1,114,538.43, with $50,000 coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Second by Holder. Question? All right, please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, guys. Number 8, I put into the form of a motion to approve School Federal Projects Fund number 142, Budget Amendment 142-4, items 1 through 3, in the amount of $522,861.73, with nothing coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Second by Nancy Brown. Discussion needed. Okay, I call for the vote. Show us.
Thank you, guys. Moving on to number 9, motion to approve Head Start Fund number 145, Budget Amendment 145-2, item 1, in the amount of $51,960, with nothing coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Second. Ms. Childress. And second by Lisa.
For a point of clarification on this, the Head Start Fund budget cycle is 180 degrees from what our budget cycle is. So they have to make a significant amount of budget amendments as we get closer into December so they can move money around so that it all gets appropriated correctly and we don't lose it.
Please vote. Show us the vote. Motion passes.
All right, number 10, to approve monetary donations to the animal shelter, and I put into the form of a motion to approve monetary donations in the animal shelter in the amount of $9,510.
Second by Prophet. J. Prophet. All right, let's vote on that. Show us.
Thank you, guys. Number 11, motion to approve non-monetary donations to the animal shelter in the amount of $2,087.03. These are food
Second.
donations that come in from Walmart.
Because she's closest to me, I heard Nancy first, so. Brown on the second. Please vote.
All right. There's one thing that's left off the cheat sheet and it was done so inadvertently. If you'll check the actual minutes from the Budget Committee meeting, there was a motion put forth in the Budget Committee meeting by Dr. Acuff, seconded by me, to pay, and I'll put this in the form of a motion, to pay the $294,630 from the unassigned fund balance and repay it from the TDEC funding for the Peters Hollow Water Project.
Second.
Second by Dr. Acuff. Any questions on this?
What this does, to kind of give you some context, is Peters Hollow is adding in redundancy by attaching on the First District water system. And these funds are what's going to make that possible. Originally, we didn't think it was possible, but TDEC came in and said, yeah, you can do stuff like that. There's a number of private water systems that we have up here. And so what we're doing is we're taking the funding out of the unassigned fund balance in the short term. Once the TDEC funding becomes appropriated, we will take that money out of the TDEC funding and put it back into the unassigned fund balance. So we can fast track the project, go ahead and get it done in waves, so they can order materials and get everything done that they need to get done while we wait on the breakneck speed of the federal government.
Okay, let's vote. Lisa? Oh. Passes.
Thank you, guys. I suppose that's all. Bye-bye, bye bonds.
Agenda. Which committee was it next? Was it landfill? No, highway, I mean, yes, highway. Chairperson.
Make a motion to close Allen Street, move from the Carter County road list and quit claiming any interest held by the county to the adjoining property owner.
So we have a motion made by the highway committee chair, Mr. Rasnick, seconded by Nancy Brown. Are there questions on this? Setting them out.
That is in the Rome Mountain section, isn't it? It's in the Rome Mountain section.
Yeah, it was ongoing for a while. We just kind of closed it up.
Okay, if there's no questions, let's vote. So is the vote. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now nominating committee.
Okay, we had a couple deadlocks in nominating, but we're just going to run down the list in order to keep it simple. Motion to appoint Tom Nizzle, 2nd District, and Rick Elliott, 5th District, to Parks and Recreation Board.
Second. Second by Julie Gwynn. Any questions? Please vote to approve those two. Show us.
Madam Chair, just 1 second. As a point of clarification, Mr. Nizzle is replacing the late, great Eric Anderson, and Rick Elliott is replacing the departing Ken Gooch.
Number 2, motion to appoint Tyler Williams, CPA, to Audit Committee.
Second. Second by Vice Chairman Kelly Collins. Questions about this? Okay, let's vote. Deal? That motion also passes.
Number three will be our first deadlock that we had in committee. It's Park and Recreation Board Liaison. There's one vacancy. The two candidates you'll be considering are Aaron Frazier and Donnie Cable. So when she calls for the vote, you'll just say the name of the commissioner you'd like to see go on this position.
Nancy Brown. Frazier. Aaron Wynn. Avery Wynn. Julie Glenn. Frazier. Lisa Childress. Frazier. Ginger Holdren. Frazier. Layla Ward. Frazier. Cody McQueen.
Frazier.
Kelly Collins. Frazier. Thomas Profit.
Frazier.
Willie Campbell.
Frazier.
Nick Holdren.
Frazier.
Robert Acuff.
Cable.
Bradley Johnson.
Frazier.
Steve Burrow.
Frazier.
Angie Odom. Gable. Donnie Cable.
Cable.
Patty Duffield. Frazier. Todd Smith.
Cable.
Danny Deal.
Cable.
Gary Kemp.
Cable.
Jerry Prophet.
Frazier.
Jason Raznick.
Frazier.
Daniel McInturf.
Frazier.
Aaron Frazier.
Frazier.
I mean, I thought I'd tell you, she was going
18, Aaron Frazier. 6, Donnie Cable.
to, they're confused.
Thank you.
All right, up next, JECDB board. There's 2 vacancies. However, the nominating committee did select Ginger Holdren as one of those candidates. For the second choice, it was deadlocked between Aaron Frazier and Danny Deal. That would be in consideration.
Jerry inside, I had to get my dad handle here. I'm pissed on this.
Chairman McQueen, just to clarify, we're voting between Frazier and Deal.
Yes, Chairman, Chairwoman, my apologies. And I also, being unfamiliar with this, it's been a little while. I'm not sure if it was my responsibility or yours if they wanted to speak. I don't know if that was something we were entertaining here or not.
It is. Either one of y'all like to speak? Danny Deal, I'll give you first chance.
Okay, I'm gonna get up and give a little history.
Okay.
The reason I wanted to serve on this board, I've worked at Snap-on for almost 37 years. I've been fortunate enough to work in the supply chain for 17 years. So I see what kind of economic impact a facility like this can do for a community and really a region. I see a lot of potential in our recreation here in Elizabeth, County. There's a lot of natural resources we have that we can tap into. So I'd like to be able to serve on this board, help the rest of them make some good decisions to help this community for the long run.
Commissioner Deal, Commissioner Frazier.
Here, and he made a bet that none of us knew anything about economic development and didn't know if anybody would be able to figure it out. I took that bet and I went and took the courses from the state of Tennessee and Tennessee ECD from the UT Center of Industrial Services, and I got my certification this past week. So I'm a certified economic developer. So I can continue to serve on this board so we can get a plan together for how to approach both industrial, commercial, and recreational growth within Carter County. We've had a lot of meetings on this. We have a lot of information from the TVA. I'd like to just be able to take the opportunity to implement those with other members of the Joint Economic Community Development Board to get some things going in this county so we can start getting some wins on the economic development front. The city has an economic developer that minds the store for us, but it's not anybody or anything specific for that. And they're supposed to provide feedback to the JECDB for what is going on in the county. So I'd like to be closer in with that, work with a lot of the businesses on retention and expansion, seek out some of the grants that are available out there for both recreational and industrial development, work with the TVA to try to get a pad-ready site. We're the only county in the state that does not have a pad-ready site to show or demonstrate out for businesses, regardless of whatever it is that we're coming in to do. We don't have a spec building at all. So appreciate your consideration and look forward to serving. Thank you.
Does anyone have a question for either one of these men or both of these men? Let's vote. Again, she's going to call your name and you're going to say a name. Frazier or Deal?
Nancy Brown.
Frazier.
Avery Nguyen.
Frazier.
Julie Gwynn.
Frazier.
Lisa Childress. Deal. Ginger Holdren.
Frazier.
Layla Ward.
Frazier.
Cody McQueen.
Frazier.
Kelly Collins. Deal. Thomas Profit.
Frazier.
Willie Campbell.
Frazier.
Nick Holder.
Frazier.
Robert A. Coe.
Deal.
Bradley Johnson.
Deal.
Steve Burrow.
Frazier.
Angie Odom.
Deal.
Tony Cable.
Deal.
Patty Duffield.
Frazier.
Todd Smith.
Deal.
Danny Deal.
Deal.
Gary Kemp.
Deal.
Jerry Profit.
Deal.
Jason Raznick.
Frazier.
Daniel McInturf.
Frazier.
Aaron Frazier.
Frazier.
$14, Aaron Frazier. $10, Danny Deal.
Thank you, guys.
Number 5, Main Street Liaison, 1 vacancy, motion to appoint Todd Smith.
Second.
One second.
We don't need to vote.
Pardon me.
Did we not need to vote in Mr. Frazier?
Oh, yeah.
We voice voted, but
Well, no, you all voted to pick Frazier over Deal, but you really could do a second motion to approve Frazier and Holdren to that board. But
that's what I meant, sorry.
back up after this when you're already doing this one now.
I was going to ask County Attorney, is it possible to put the rest of those in at one vote, or do you suggest we keep doing as we're doing now, one at a time?
You can make one motion to fill all the remaining vacancies, unless anybody wants to separate them out. That's your all's decision.
Okay,
They were individual motions in the committee, is all I would say, but, I mean, that's up to the chair if he lumps them together and nobody wants to break them apart.
I think it's a good suggestion. So I'll make a motion to appoint the remaining appointees on your sheet to their positions.
he is making a motion to, from number 5 through number 13, to approve all of those at once. We do not have a second right now.
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
You just go back to 4.
Well, The county attorney suggested that we go back to that in a minute since he had already started on Todd's meeting. If you all want to make a friendly amendment, can they do that? And make it start at number 4 and go down through 13?
Sure. Certainly, yeah.
I can't ask you to do that. Only the.
Somebody second.
We don't have a second yet.
I said
I
second.
heard somebody did.
I said second.
I thought I heard it.
I don't think I called second, so,
And this is 5.
no. At the time it is, because that's the motion right now, is for 5 through 13.
Can we make a friendly amendment then to go back and include number 4?
Yeah, I'll restate it for you in just a second, Gwen. Cody, will you accept her friendly amendment?
I do.
And Gary, will you accept the friendly amendment? All right, so now the motion on the floor is to approve with one vote items 4 through 13 under the nominating committee. So we would be approving every single one of those vacancies as they came forward from the nominating committee. You may have a question on what we're about to vote on. Okay, so one yes vote approves several appointments right now, and we're ready to vote. Let's, okay, motion passes. Thank you, Wayne. Now, landfill. Got, ready? Come on, Commissioner Kemp, give us the landfill report.
This is all everything.
Been said before, Benny's sick tonight, so I'm new. This is the first time I spoke to y'all. I don't know what's going on yet, because I'm in a learning process of high school. But in the agreement, there was $25,000 budgeted that we passed. But there's also a PO, if I'm not mistaken, of $5,000 in addition to that $25,000 that was to be passed. For, what was it, where it was like a overpay or not enough money to pay the cost of it.
The second one goes to a different vendor, so that's why we need the additional $5,000. The 25 was to cover the original vendor. They've now gone to a second vendor because evidently they took it back and are having to get another one. And so that's what the additional 5,000 are. I can't approve that PO because there is not enough money in that line item to fund that PO at this point. So that's what the second one is for. We just found out about this.
See,
Basically.
Benny's not here to do me the help about it.
I'll second this, but also have something to add. Basically, what happened was the dozer broke down. Landfill does not have a dozer. There's one of two options. We can either shut the landfill down, or we can start paying fines to the state and to the EPA as well for operating without the dozer in place. So that was what the original $25,000 was for, is because the dozer broke down in May. There's been a struggle getting parts for the engine and different things like that. Now, I spoke to Director Lyons. He said that a few minutes ago, he said that the $25,000 was supposed to cover that. But according to the finance director, she is saying that there is not enough there to cover that. So this is something extra and additional, and we'll be able to get more clarification going forward. But the dozer is currently broken down as we speak. We've been working on it all day, and they worked on into it in the night. We're gonna pick up again on it tomorrow. So in either case, if that dozer doesn't come back up, we'll end up having to rent another one anyway, or go into the fines range and different things like that.
Is it the dozer or the loader?
It's either or. They gotta have one of them on site.
Oh,
Because
They're all broke
initially,
down.
initially they said it was the loader for $6,000. In addition to that, I'm now being told they don't need the additional $6,000 because they have it up and running. Is that correct? Okay, so it's just the one that we're looking for at this point. And if for some reason they did not need that, would come out of their unassigned fund balance, so we can, that's not an issue as far as, it's not gonna affect the county's unassigned fund balance, it will come out of the landfill's unassigned balance. If for some reason they didn't use it before the end of the year, it would roll back into that account.
And so I have a question and a clarification, if you all don't mind, if I go next. One is, if we give $5,000 more this evening, do we know how far that gets us into the future? What's the rental period?
1 month. And it's generally between $5,000 and $6,000 a month to rent the dozer.
That's what it was on that John Deere. It's $5,000 a month.
So from what day to what day? Do we know that?
I don't know when the start rental period is. It's just 30 days.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's something that they're going to pick up very soon, considering it's down right now, so.
Okay, and the clarification I wanted was, when you say you had to come before us for the 5,000 and there wasn't enough money to do it, you don't mean there's not enough landfill money to do it, you just mean in that one line item. So we're just. Okay.
And the second point, before we can proceed through this, since it did not go through a committee, did this go through and get voted on in the landfill committee? The 5,000, did this one get voted on?
Anywhere.
Okay,
It's a budget amendment. You move money from one line to another.
Yes, but it did not go through
Have to be
the
okay.
committee. We found out about it after the committee had
That's what
met.
I'm saying. It wouldn't have mattered about landfill committee. It's gotta go through budget committee because it's a budget amendment. So that's what he's getting at.
yeah, and basically to proceed with it, we would have to suspend the rules for this vote to be able to come forward with it, because they can't go 30 days without a dozer or
Yeah,
whatever
they have
the
to
number is.
From my understanding.
Okay, so we would need for Commissioner Kemp to withdraw his motion.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you would withdraw this one, Gary, so we can suspend the rules. We have a body of the full commission, so we'd have to suspend the rules first, which requires a 2/3 majority vote. Then you could bring forward this motion to set aside the 5,000 from their unassigned fund balance.
Okay, I'll suspend my motion.
Okay, so if he withdraws that motion, do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, motion by Gwen, second by Odom to suspend the rules so that we can come back to the landfill motion. So we're ready now to suspend the rules and hear the landfill motion. Show us if this passed, and it did, so the rules are suspended. Now, Commissioner Kemp, you can bring forth a motion that did not go through Budget Committee.
The reason this didn't go through the budget committee was because it just come up 5 o'clock this afternoon. So I make a motion that we approve the $5,000, the PO that we have now to cover this remainder.
Ms. Carolyn, can you state what line that's gonna come from within the landfill budget?
And they are unassigned fund balance.
Unassigned fund balance, okay, gotcha. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll maintain my second on this motion.
All right, any other questions?
What is the balance on their unassigned fund balance, Carolyn?
Hang on, I just put it away. 600,000, but just to be sure. $607,000.
607,000.
Okay, let's vote on this. Show us the vote. The motion passes. Landfill committee, we've got some work to do. Next meeting,
Thank you.
big time. Okay, thank you very much. All right, anything
There's no other committees at all.
I apologize, let me ask that. Does any other committee want to give a report? You can just state what's going on currently in your community. If you don't have a motion to bring forward, just give us an update if you want to. I didn't mean to overlook that. I apologize. Yes, Aaron Fraser.
Parks and Rec is going to be starting on the construction of a gazebo that we had purchased at the end of last fiscal year. We've got the monies appropriated to go ahead and get it constructed. People are asking a lot of questions around why has there been more in the way of progress over there. Currently, we are waiting on, I use that in the loosest possible terms, on the federal government and FEMA pertaining to a no-rise certification that we need for the facility so we can construct the footbridge to get people in there. For the past at least 3 months, and I've heard as long as back as 6 months from other counties, that FEMA has provided no data for any of these no-rise certifications. So until that starts coming through, until I'm reaching out to Representative Harshbarger to see if we can get some motion on that, we can get that completed and get moving on. Another thing is there is a landowner that owns some land that is adjacent to that currently has an easement through it. Attorney Harden has reached out to them with the city, an easement with the city for a sewer line. And Attorney Harden's reached out to them on a couple of different occasions. We cannot get them to respond. We're wanting to potentially widen that easement a little bit so we can run water and electricity through that so we can get water and electricity into the park without having to deal with the EPA and try to run it underground under the river on the other side. We've not had any success on that. And we're going to be consulting with Attorney Harden on how best to proceed with expanding that easement and making sure that we stay within the
Any others at all? I guess I haven't even met yet. We just now approved. It's on there. All right. Ernie, I guess.
Okay, as I said last month, every month I submit a written report that's included with your minutes. And I understand that you probably see that a month behind when you get to the minutes from last month. But in any event, I'll always answer any questions you have. I kind of try to provide these just to give you a general idea of what I do during the month between the meetings. As far as litigation goes, you all, well, a lot of you all won't necessarily know, but there's several different versions of opioid litigation that commenced during the last commission term. And most all of those have resulted in settlements that the county is receiving. So we did recently receive a disbursement from a settlement with 3 pharmaceutical distributors. It was Amerisource, Cardinal Health, and McKesson. There was a second settlement fund from Johnson & Johnson and Janssen that's supposed to be here either the end of this month or first of next month. And then there was another settlement from Endo Pharmaceutical and they filed bankruptcy, so that's kind of on hold. But in any event, those are actually funds coming into the county at some point. Those are just massive pieces of litigation that are statewide, countrywide. And so if anybody has any specific questions about those, I'm happy to answer them, but that's just a general update on those. And that's really the only active litigation now in the county. And like I said, everything else in general is on there, and anybody can call me anytime they want to, and I'll be glad to fill you in on any questions you need answered. Yes, sir.
Attorney Harden, is there any other litigation that was not covered in the motion that we had made to dedicate our funds to the Northeast Rehab Center at Roan Mountain?
That's a whole nother one. That's the Baby Doe settlement funds, and those have been committed. That's still in process, and the mayor knows more about that than I do. If you have a question about that, but that is a whole separate fund from these 3. There was at least 4, maybe 5 separate settlements that we're actually getting. It just obviously takes time.
What's the rough value as from the court side, or do we know yet?
No, I mean, that they're all different. Some of them were negotiated nationwide, some of them by the state attorney general. I think the one we got recently from the 3 distributors was like 28,000, 7,000. But there's like a very complicated mathematical formula that they have worked out for every city and county nationwide that was involved. And it's some multiplier by the total. So I can't tell you exactly, but it's something to the good from all of them.
Thank you, sir.
Of course, the baby doe money was several, 1 million.
There's no questions for the attorney. I've got a couple of things I need to take care of before you all have a chance to speak. You receive each month a copy from the clerk's office of the next month's scheduled meetings. Will you please look that over, especially if you're a committee chair, and make sure that there's no changes that need to be made, because pretty much as soon as we leave this meeting, the clerk's office has to put this in the newspaper. So we need it to be right on the night of our full committee meeting.
There is November 8th, animal shelter meeting on election day. Shannon.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's the 11th, no, wait, sorry. The 15th.
Correct.
Well, there's another meeting, well. Main courtroom here has records, so we'll have to do another meeting.
We'll let them meet in here, we're gonna have records then.
Okay, we just need to change that though, from the 8th to the 15th. Animal shelter.
And I know that we just talked the other night in our special called meeting about how we don't overlap meetings, but unless something is crazy on records committee this month, they won't take more than 30 minutes anyway. So,
I think Shannon had emailed Kinsey today, and I said, we'll just do records in the conference room and they can have the courtroom.
We're happy to use the conference room.
But they won't be, records committee won't like be longer, probably 20 minutes, so.
okay. So did you get that, clerk's office?
From the 8th to the.
Change the 8th to the 15th, okay. Does anybody else see a change that needs to be made? Okay. And speaking of the special called meeting, I didn't do a sign-in sheet the other night, so there's one passing around the room, I hope. All right, is it finished, you think? Okay, the back row didn't get it, maybe? Let's pass it around, make sure everybody that was present for the special call meeting signed that, so that you can, get paid for that. I appreciate you all, the attendance was great. I really appreciate those of y'all that came out for that. And then the third thing is you need to come and see these ladies before you leave and let them know if you want to continue to receive a paper packet. So this is 2 months in a row now that they've had to print copies of every single document. If you are comfortable using a device to pull your documents up on screen and not spend money, county taxpayer money, on the black and white ink and the paper, please come and let them know where you stand. Do you want the paper packet? Do you want an electronic packet? And that'll save them a lot of time, trouble, and the county some money. And that's all that I have. So the floor is open to all of you. If you have a comment. Mr. Frazier.
Parks and Rec will be moving its meeting from the 25th to either the 24th or the 26th. It's the 25th. Yeah, from the 25th, it's on Tuesday. We have a special budget meeting that's been called for that night regarding some studies and stuff that we're trying to go over. So I'll be moving Parks and Rec to one of those other 2 days so they don't overlap.
Aaron, is the 24th Thanksgiving Day?
No, this is in this month, October.
This month, okay, I'm sorry.
This month's meeting.
Okay, so October will get moved to
I've got to confer with the vice chair, which day is better for, and the other committee members, which day is better for them. Most likely it's going to be the 24th because the 26th is the Wednesday, church day.
You'll reach out to these ladies. Okay.
Just giving everybody a heads up.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment before we go? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn by Glenn. Second by Brown. All in favor, say aye.
All opposed?
I think twice for that one, didn't
Yeah, see, he's. Every cigar across the board, he's fancy.
There you go.
Have a good night. You do what it's here. We're getting there. We're there.
People will ask me, I say, you know.
Nice, you'll love that.
See?
I put my name on our.
You